They don't know what's coming. They never did. The world has been shaped by the loud, the arrogant, the ones who shout their way to the top, until they come face to face with something they can't shake, something they can't define, someone like you, a force wrapped in silence, a storm that doesn't roar, yet dismantles everything in its path. You don't wage war with fists. You don't fight with words. Your battlefield is unseen, the war of minds, the clash of spirits, the quiet destruction where facades crumble and weak hearts scream in agony. They were never prepared for you, and that's exactly why they fear you. You don't respond like they expect. You don't bark back like a desperate fool. No, you just exist, and that alone is enough to break them. They strut around with their fragile egos, puffing their chests, pretending to be invincible, until you look them in the eye, until you see right through them, and worse, until you let them know. That's when the fear sets in. That's when their insides twist, their voices waver, their masks crack, because when you expose them, they lose the illusion. They can't pretend anymore. They wanted to be untouchable, kings of their little jungle, until the jungle stared back, until they realized they were standing before something ancient, something relentless, something far beyond their understanding. You don't move with anger. You don't move with desperation. You move with certainty, and certainty is sharper than any blade. When you step into a room, the whole atmosphere shifts, because unlike them, you don't need validation. You don't chase applause. You don't beg for acceptance. You move like a shadow, unseen yet undeniable, and that eats them alive, because their existence is built on being noticed, being acknowledged, being praised. Meanwhile, you dismantle their illusions without even trying. They test you, they poke, they scheme, they try to drag you into their petty battles, but it never works, because how do you fight something that doesn't flinch? How do you intimidate someone with nothing to prove? How do you break someone who already let go of everything that could be broken? That's the game they don't understand. They spent their whole lives building walls around their insecurities. You set fire to yours a long time ago. They cling to their reputation, their fake sense of importance, but you walk with truth. And truth is the hammer that shatters illusions. That's why the air gets thick when you step in. That's why laughter turns nervous. That's why they avoid your gaze. Because deep down, they know. They know they are outmatched. They know their entire identity is a mirage. And in your presence, the mirage dissolves. Their egos crumble not because you attack them, but because you don't need to. Your existence alone is a threat, a mirror that forces them to see themselves for what they truly are. No filters, no masks, no excuses, just raw exposure. And they hate it. They despise it. So they whisper, they plot, they spread rumors, because that's all weak minds know how to do. But you don't even hear them. You're too busy building, too busy growing, too busy creating a legacy while they waste their breath trying to tear you down. You don't play their desperate little games of power. You're not here for their version of victory. You're here for dominion. So let them resent you, let them fear you, let them spew their bitterness while you shape the universe. Because at the end of the day, they are prisoners of their own illusions. And you already broke free. They will never be ready for you. No matter how much they talk, scheme, or pretend, they will never match your presence. Because you don't move on their time. You don't play by their rules. You don't fight for scraps of attention like a starving dog. You are something else entirely. Something untamed, something undeniable. You walk in and they feel it. No flashing lights, no grand entrances, just you. And that alone sends shockwaves through the room. Real power doesn't scream. It doesn't beg to be noticed. It just is. And that terrifies them, because they can't categorize you. They don't know what you are. A threat, a leader, a force of chaos, a storm they can't outrun. The unknown is what breaks them, because their power is built on illusion, while yours is rooted in something real. You don't lift a finger, yet their egos crumble, their fake confidence shakes, their hands fidget, their voices tremble, because deep down they know they can't compete. They know their entire existence is built on fragile lies, and one wrong move in front of you will shatter it all. So they do what weak minds always do. They lash out. They envy. They play their desperate mind games. Because how dare you exist beyond their reach? How dare you refuse to bow? How dare you expose their delusions without even trying? They will call you cold, dangerous, too much. But they will never stop watching you. Because for all their resentment, they are obsessed with you. They analyze you. They study your every move because they want what you have. They want to taste what it's like to be you. But they never will, because what you are, that can't be faked, it can't be stolen, it can't be copied. It's earned through fire, through sufferings, through breaking and rebuilding until nothing weak remains. That's why you will always walk alone, untouched, untamed, because they don't have the stomach for what made you. They don't have the nerve for what built you. So let them talk, let them scheme, let them watch from the sidelines. Because no matter what they do, they will never stand where you stand. They will never breathe where you breathe. Because you aren't in the same league. You aren't even in the same universe. And that's the truth that shatters them the most. The undeniable, inescapable reality that no matter how much they puff up their chests, no matter how much they imitate, manipulate, or conspire, you will always be beyond them. Because you didn't stumble into your power. You didn't inherit it. You weren't gifted it like some entitled fraud. No, you earned it. Through chaos, through silence, through a war they wouldn't have survived. They don't understand what it took to become you. They see the presence, the unshakable control, the way you move like you own the air around you, but they don't see the war, the nights you stood alone, breaking yourself down and building from nothing, the moments when the world tried to crush you, erase you, bury you, and you didn't just survive, you transcended. That's why they will never be ready. That's why they never will be. Because you don't just exist above them, you think beyond them, you move beyond them. They are trapped in their fragile little egos, still clawing for validation from people who don't even respect themselves. Meanwhile, you couldn't care less. You don't beg for a seat at their table, you flip the entire damn table over. You don't ask for recognition, your presence demands it, without a single word. And that eats them alive. Because to them, power is control. Power is forcing people to acknowledge them. But your power, it doesn't beg, it doesn't plead. Hay will never be ready for you. Ah, my favorite kind of crowd. Those who know the taste of war. Not the kind fought with fists or bullets, no, the kind waged in silence, the battle of minds, the war of spirits, the quiet carnage where egos crumble and the weak scream inside begging for relief. The world has always belonged to the loud, the arrogant, the ones who scream the hardest, until they meet something they can't shake, something they can't explain. Someone like you, a spiritual OG, a walking paradox, a storm wrapped in stillness. They ain't ready for you. They never were, and that's why they fear you. You don't fight the way they expect. You don't bark back like a fool. No, no, no. You just exist. And that alone destroys them. They puff up their chests, throw around their fragile little egos like weapons. But you see right through them. Worse, you let them know. And that burns. That makes their insides twist into knots. Because once you expose them, they can't pretend anymore. And that is their greatest fear. They wanted to play the big shot, the untouchable, the king of the jungle, until the jungle stared back, until they realized they were standing in front of something deeper, something older, something colder, a presence they can't shake, a force they can't intimidate, because you don't move with anger, you don't move with desperation, you move with knowing. And knowing is the sharpest blade of all, the undeniable force. When you step into a room, the whole game changes. Because unlike them, you don't need to prove yourself. You don't need their validation. You don't need their fake applause or their shallow approval. You move like a ghost. Untouchable, unshakable, unstoppable. And they hate that. Oh, they hate that. Because their entire existence is built on being seen, on being respected, on being acknowledged. And yet here you are, cutting through their illusions without saying a word. They try to test you, poke at you, drag you down to their level, but it never works. Because how do you fight something that doesn't flinch? How do you intimidate someone who has nothing to prove? How do you break someone who let go of everything that could be broken? That's the game they don't understand. That's why they ain't ready. See, they spent their whole lives building walls around their fragile little egos. You burned yours down a long time ago. They cling to their image, their reputation, their fake sense of importance. You walk with truth. And truth shatters illusions. That's why the air gets heavy when you step in. That's why the laughter gets nervous. That's why they avoid eye contact. Because deep down, they know they can't match what's standing in front of them. You humiliate their egos just by breathing, just by being, because nothing scares a fraud more than a mirror. And that's exactly what you are, a living, walking, breathing mirror. You force them to see themselves, no filters, no masks, no excuses, just them, raw and exposed. And they hate it. So they whisper, they plot. They try to tear you down, because that's all weak minds know how to do. But you don't even hear them, because you're too busy moving forward, too busy building, too busy growing. You don't fight the same battles as them. You don't play their petty little games. You're not here for their version of victory. You're here for dominion. They will never be ready. Let them fear you. Let them resent you. Let them run their mouths while you run the universe. Because at the end of the day, they are stuck in their own illusions. And you already broke free. They ain't ready for you. They never were, and they never will be. And that burns them the most. Because no matter how much they try, no matter how much they whisper, plot, or fake their little power plays, they will never be ready for you. Because you don't move on their time. You don't operate by their rules. You don't play their desperate game of dominance, clawing for attention like a starving dog. No. You're something else. Something ancient. Something untouchable. You walk in, and it's felt. No grand entrance, no flashing lights, no fake smiles. Your presence alone sends shockwaves through the room. Because real power doesn't scream. It doesn't beg to be noticed. It just is. And that makes them scramble. That makes them phoenic. Because they can't categorize you. Are you a threat? Are you a leader? Are you a problem? Are you a solution? They don't know. And that unknown, that drives them insane. Because you humiliate egos without lifting a finger. All their posturing, their fake confidence, their overinflated pride, it all evaporates in front of you. Their voices tremble when they challenge you. Their hands fidget when they try to hold their ground. Their whole spirit shakes. Because deep down, they know they can't compete. They know their entire identity is built on fragile illusions. And one wrong move in front of you, it shatters. So they react the only way weak minds ever react. With anger, with envy, with desperate little mind games. Because how dare you exist beyond their reach? How dare you walk through life without fear?